Hello, everyone. This is Wild Style coming to you with another live stream. We're back with another podcast. In the podcast series of the title "Let's Talk About It." This is episode 4. We're going to be talking about human behavior and why, as human beings, people, we act the way we do. Before I get into this, I will more or less uh, see who's all in chat. Hello, Ice. How are you? Hope you're doing all right. I gotta. I think that's correct. Okay. All right. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna be talking about human behavior. Why people act the way they do. Well, some people act the way they do. Yes, I know that. A lot of people will give me a simple answer as well. They're idiots, or they're crazy, or they're weird, or they're not normal. I hate to tell you this, but nobody is normal in this world. Um, it's it is the way the world is, but to me, I believe that the world itself has gotten worse off, and the people in it have gotten worse off. And let's see, can I? Oh, there we go. Hello, Ice. How are you? Welcome.
Hello, Lady Wild.
And how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing okay. And I am normal.
You're normal. Oh,
I'm
okay.
normal for myself.
Well, I mean that's pretty. I think that's pretty much what anybody would say. Oh, I'm normal. But anyway, I'd like to read a bit of a bit on human behavior. What I had done a little research. Human behavior refers to the way humans act and interact. It is based on and influenced by several factors such as genetics, makeup, culture, and individual values and attitudes. Now, that being said, of course, all of that, yes, that is their or so-called, you know, Google's definition of human behavior. But there are many other ways to define human behavior. Um, like I said, a simple answer people would probably say, "Oh, well, they're a bunch of idiots, or they're crazy, they're weird, they're not normal, they're not like us." And it's true because people would give you a simple answer when you ask them, "Okay, well, would you define human behavior? What would you consider human behavior to be? Do you think that a crazy person is normal? Do you think that a weird person is normal? You know, what is and of course we'll get into this as well. What is normal? Or why would you want to be normal? You know. Um but yeah, uh such as okay, it says in there several factors such as genetic makeup, culture, and individual values and attitudes. Now, I'm going to ask you, Ice, if what you think, what I had just called off a few of those things. Do you consider that human behavior?
Uh, d- am I even broadcasting?
I think so because you're in
Okay.
here.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Mhm.
Uh, do I think genetics and what was the other two you called off?
Genetic makeup, culture, and individual values and attitudes. Do you think that that is in fact human behavior?
Um, Genetics you cannot change.
Yeah,
So yes, genetics would be a human behavior because that is bred into you.
yeah,
Culture and the environment around you can be changed.
yeah,
For example, let's say Wild, I'm gonna use your example. You were raised up in a home that, let's say your parents beat you every day,
Yeah.
whooping your ass and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Um, if you grown up like that, and you're gonna have the tendency of doing that to your children, but you can also change that around by not doing it to your children, and you will break that chain.
Yeah.
So, environmental and culture can be changed as a human behavior.
Yeah.
For example, when we grew up in the 60s, 70s, and before, we had our ass whooped every friggin' time we turned around,
Oh yeah.
either by our parents or by school.
Mm-hmm.
Then come along, um, I think it was mid '80s, early '90s. They was phasing the school spankings out for
Mm-hmm.
this timeout crap, which don't
Yeah.
work, I
Oh
can
yeah.
say. But that's another subject for another day. And school spanking was literally phased out time I graduated, which was back in '92. I think my last ass whooping in school by a paddle that was about 3/4 inch thick, full of fucking holes, was back in sixth grade. That was back in '86. And yes, that type of stuff has changed. Like I said, to this, as they call it today, timeout deal.
Yeah. Hello, Drake. How are you? Welcome. Times a day sometimes.
No, I was laughing at what he said first. What needs to happen around here? Talk about ass whooping.
Yeah. But as far as like human behavior, um, can we, and of course I know a lot of people would probably say, well, how can we change human behavior for the better? Now, of course, in that little definition that I did, it talked about individual values and attitudes.
Yeah.
Well, attitudes, I'd like to talk about that for a minute.
Yep.
Attitudes, a lot of people can change.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people can change their attitudes. A lot of people can, change it for the better. They can become a better person. Um, that being said, you know, there there are a lot of people in this world who basically um, do not want to change. Um, they more or less, think, okay, well, the way that I act towards people, the way that I am, approach someone and talk to them, well, that's my human behavior. That's the right human behavior. Well, how do you know that the way that you act towards somebody, I mean, even if you basically come up and just start fussing, with them and, basically saying, oh, well, you suck and all this. How do you know that that human behavior cannot change? How do you know that's the right human behavior? For me, to me, I think that that is not good human behavior. That is not the right human behavior. In my mind, the right human behavior is, you more or less being nice to people, even if they are not nice to you. Um, you know, more or less having a positive attitude as human behavior. Um, More or less, you know, being being a better person,
Yeah.
having a better attitude is one. Um, you don't have to have an attitude per se towards somebody. You don't have to basically go up to them, because there are people out there who basically are complete snobs. and they will basically just put their nose up at you and not even talk to you. Don't want to give you the time of day or nothing.
True.
Um, and then there are people who do have good human behavior, and they more or less, it doesn't matter, if you're nice or not, they're still going to be nice to you, kind of like me. I try to respect everybody. I say hello to everybody. I ask people, oh, well, how are you doing? Because that's the type of person I am. I do happen to care about people. I try to be nice due to the fact that, that's how I was raised. My parents raised me, you know, that way, to be respectful, to have a good attitude towards someone, you know. And yes, genetics might have played a role in that as well because everybody has genetics. It doesn't matter who you are, you know. And it's like you said before, I could have grown up in a household where my parents beat me all the time, but they didn't. And I was very fortunate as a kid. Um, I was very fortunate not to have gotten beat up by my parents. I was fortunate enough to have loving parents, to have a loving home. And not a lot of people can say that. And I think, to be perfectly honest, and this is my opinion, that, the way that you are raised, the way that your parents act towards you, I think that that kind of goes, kind of spills over into the child, and they more or less kind of grow up with this attitude and, this genetic, like, okay, well, I got to be mean to everybody because people were mean to me. And
Yeah,
that's
that's
their,
cultural.
yeah, and that's their human behavior. Um, but, there are, like I said, there are individuals who've had a rough life growing up, and then there are individuals who haven't.
There have been
Um,
some human beings that are sheltered from life.
yes, and they have been sheltered from life. And then there are some who basically were never sheltered, and they lived life, and they lived, the way life they know because they grew up that way, knowing how life is, knowing how hard it is out there in the real world, you know. And I think, especially nowadays with this younger generation, I believe that a lot of them were sheltered because of
In a
their
way.
attitude towards everyone. It's like some of them, yeah, they're very nice, they're very polite, and then you got some people that are basically, complete, and of course, excuse my language on this, but fucking assholes who basically will just won't even give you the time of day, or they'll come in, they'll troll people's channels, streams, or whatever,
Like
irritate the
me.
hell out of you, you know.
Like me. uh,
But no, I mean, you get where I'm coming from.
oh, yeah, I know that's where you come from. But I do
Um,
have a question for you.
yes, you can.
Something you was elaborating on a little bit earlier. You was talking about the different type of behavior.
Hmm.
Which one is right? How do you know what's right and what's not? Is there such thing as right behavior or wrong behavior?
Well, to answer your question, it would be a yes and a no question. Actually, it would be both be answers be yes and no. In a way, yes, there is a way to know the right behavior, and then in a way, no, there is not a way to know the right behavior. And yeah, I think Drake agrees with you on yes, it is you. Hello, MXT. How are you? Welcome, and I appreciate the like. Um, but in a way, like getting back to that, yes,
Yep.
there is a way of knowing. Yes, there is the right attitude, and then there is a wrong attitude. For some people, it's more or less, and I'm not saying it's engraved in their minds or whatever, but it's the way that, how can I phrase this? It's the way that they were taught
Yeah.
as a kid. Um, and some people, yes, they were taught to say, well, you need to be nice to these people or you need to respect these people, you know. Um,
Oh, no problem, Drake. I know what you was doing.
you know, it's the way that their parents taught them. Now, On the other hand, when I'm saying no, there is no, people don't know the right, or there is no right or wrong way of human behavior. In my mind, I think that they were never taught. Or if they were, who knows, they might have been brainwashed into believing some stuff of, well, this is how you're supposed to behave.
Well,
Um,
just oh, go ahead.
but like I said, the brainwashing. We'll get into that another time. But yeah, I mean, it is possible that people have done that.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, there, as I was saying, there are people who don't think that, who say no, there's not a right or wrong way, or there's not a right or wrong answer as far as human behavior.
well,
Um, go ahead.
I was going to say yeah, just like you know, and a lot of people knows me. They know that when I voice something, I don't hold back,
Yeah, yeah,
and that's can be changed. That is
yeah,
cultural,
yeah.
and that is my type of behavior.
Oh yeah,
Is it right
absolutely.
behavior? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows?
It's how a person views another person, as in human behavior.
Yep.
And I'll give you an example of this. And I'll use you as an example if
Yeah,
that's
go
all
for it.
right. Um, the way that you view, say you view me, say if I did something and I just kind of went off the handle and said, such and such, the way you view my human behavior is okay. Well, this woman is, there's something wrong with her. She's either weird,
You're
crazy,
nuts.
she's nuts, she's a bitch, such as that. Um, but yeah, it's your view on how you think or how you see human behavior. There are, you know, and I could be the same way, or if I
Oh
saw
yeah.
you doing something and I would think, okay, well that's not very good human behavior that you are displaying at the moment. Or, you could say, well, that person is just a fucking idiot. Excuse my
True.
language, because the way he's behaving.
And I know there
Um,
have probably been times you thought that towards me.
well, and people probably thought that towards me as well. Let's see. Hello, OG. How are you? Welcome. Hey, Hippity. How are you? Hello, Sabby. Good to see you. Welcome. Anybody else? And anybody else who is, if you're just lurking, hello and welcome to the podcast. I do appreciate you guys coming. Um, but getting back to how people view, in a way, I think that is pretty much how society of today's standards.
Yeah.
That is how the human behavior is perceived. We all view one another and think, okay, well that guy's an idiot, or we'll view, well that woman's nuts, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and whether you have seen it on the internet, whether you've seen it with the news, or YouTube videos, whatever, Instagram, Twitter, whatever type of videos you have basically seen, and you look at these people and you thinking, you know, geez, these people are dumb, or man, these people are idiots, Um, but it's there, but see, that's the person's view, that's their opinion, as I should say. It is their opinion on what they think. Oh well, this person's human behavior is not that great. I think that they need to do better. Um, but you know, you and I could say view a person, what a person perceives from another person, or what they see rather, or view from another person. Um, it's everybody's perspective
True.
on everybody else. Everybody has a perspective, and they more or less kind of see, well, you know, like I said, that person's idiot, that person's crazy. And of course, I have told people this on my stream time and time again. Yes, I'm crazy. Yes, I'm weird. Yeah, I might be a bitch too, but that's just who I am. And I will basically tell people that. before anybody can more or less judge what they think. When they hear me, and yes, I have had many people come in and say, "Oh well, that they'll, and you've been witness to this, Ice, where they have basically either called me bro,
Yeah.
dude, sir, stuff like that." And yeah, it gets to me, but um, I actually had somebody I was talking with, and you actually know this person too, Ice. Where they basically say, "Well, maybe you should try psychology, reverse psychology on the
Yeah.
person, if they come in." Um, but I mean, and that's actually a good, um, it is a good idea. It is a good theory that somebody could do that to somebody else. Um, but I don't see. My thing is that when I talk, and I have told people this, I'm like, do I really sound like a guy? And most of the people say, well, you don't even sound like one. Oh, I don't think you do. And
No, you don't.
obviously, people who come in, they're like, they'll just say, hey, because they've never seen me before. Yet I have on here Miss on the first word in my name is Miss. I have an avatar of a witch, a female witch, and a wolf. So you would think that automatically somebody would say, "Oh, well, that's a woman. Maybe I should just say hello, instead of hey, bro." But yeah, just
Well, people in this culture and day and age don't know how to read anyhow.
true. Or they do, but they are, shall I say, lazy with reading. They more or less are, how can I say this, addicted to their phones or tablets. They're always on them.
Yeah.
Um, I will give you all an example, and of course, I actually witnessed this today because I had to go out. I have seen so many people on their phones, just looking at the phones and not paying attention to basically where they're supposed to walk. Um, and it's like they don't really pay attention. They don't. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't seem to care about where they are, their environment or whatever, because they're down, they're looking at the phone, they're looking at either Facebook or, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and they're not paying attention. And to me, it's like when someone comes in, just like Drake did. Drake, you want to go on the rack, don't you? Um, just like Drake did, where they will come in, they'll say, "Hey, bro," and this and that. And I've actually seen this on other streams where there were actual women streamers, and they will come in and say, "Hey, bro, how you doing?" and all this. And it's like, she's not a bro, She'll be a sister, but she's not a bro. So and most of the time, I want to basically say, well, I basically have cleaned it up since I have previous. I usually just tell people, wrong sex with that.
And how that going for you?
It's still not going, so I guess I need to go back to doing the boobs and the vagina deal. So,
Uh,
hmm. But yeah. I mean, what are your opinions as far as human behavior? How do you uh perceive someone's human behavior?
well, the way I perceive people and their behavior
Yeah.
is I have to talk with them, either voice talk like we are, person to
Yeah.
person, or even
Yeah.
in chat.
Yeah.
Because you can perceive. how somebody demeanor is just by the way they talk
Yeah.
or type
Yeah.
in the chat situation. And you can basically get an understanding of their behavior that way as well.
Yeah.
It's better if you're either face to face with a person or even in a voice chat. Because with those two items, you can hear the emotion in their voices.
Mm-hmm.
You can hear the distinctness of the voice, and you can basically tell the gender by the voice, for one thing.
Well,
And
obviously, people can't tell my gender.
well, last I've known, you're a white female.
Yeah. And I have actually showed you. I put a face cam on for you in Discord so you can see me. I've taken a picture
Yeah,
of you. Um,
of me. You took a picture
no,
of
I mean,
me.
yeah, I mean of me. Lord, my yeah, I took a picture of you.
uh,
No,
but
I took a picture of myself and I gave it to you, and then I was like, "This is what I look like,"
yeah,
And then you did the same thing. So yeah,
yeah.
and
We done that years ago too.
oh yeah, and Drake said, "Ice thinks I'm a piece of shit."
Uh,
LOL.
okay. If you're a piece of shit, then you must be a one stinking ass shit. But yeah, perceiving people and their behavior or demeanor, as some people calls it, it's the easiest thing to do.
Oh yeah.
Um, there are some surprises once you get started knowing people. Cause everybody wear a mask of a different color.
Oh yeah.
Everybody does, and until they reveal their true color, you don't know who or exactly what they are.
No, no, you don't.
Um, some people will actually reveal that color real early in your um, life of knowing them.
Yeah.
Then some will actually hold it for years. Like if you let's take your family, okay?
Mhm.
Um, there probably still some things you don't know about your family. I'm talking about your blood family,
Oh yeah.
and I know there's some things that is hidden in your family, not blood, but overall family, people you
Oh
living
yeah.
with.
Oh yeah.
Just like if you was married, how do you really know your spouse?
True.
You don't.
You really don't know your spouse, even if you live with them for so long. You still don't know them.
You can live
Um.
with them for 75 years, still don't know who the hell they are.
Exactly. Exactly.
They could be BD Cooper for all you know. Just using that for example.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But we all wear masks, and I wish one day we don't have to wear masks,
Oh yeah.
where everybody can be themselves
You're gonna
without
be on the
pretending.
Hey Chase, how are you? Welcome. Um. Yeah, in a way, but I to me, I think the reason that people do wear masks, and a lot of people would say, "Oh no, I don't wear a mask." It's not like a physical mask that you wear. It's more or less,
No, it ain't a physical
um,
mask.
yeah, it's not a physical mask. It's more or less a mask that you want to wear because you want people to more or less kind of, oh well, um, this is how I want the world to perceive me.
Yeah,
I want the world to perceive me as this person, even though in reality you are nothing like who you portray. Whether it be, like I said, whether it be on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, you know, and
that's the thing about social media. You can be whoever you want to be,
Oh yeah.
but in real life, you are who you are.
Yep.
And hello, Chase.
But yeah, talking about social media, you can be who you are. And another thing about human behavior, um there are, and I have seen this actually in some streams where people either won't, um how can I put this? All right, I'll give you an example, and this
Yep.
actually did happen in real life. I mean, not real life, but actually happened on the internet on YouTube. I had actually seen this, where a streamer, and I'm not going to name any names, but this streamer, um, more or less, shamed someone in their stream in order to, as they put it, I'm defending myself. But in
Yeah.
reality, the reason they were doing that is because just to make themselves feel better and
Yep.
make this person feel like shit. Now, is that classified as good behavior when someone does that? In my opinion, no, it is not. Um, but see, everybody has a different opinion about that. Now, some people might say, "Oh, well, they were behaving exactly how they were supposed to behave," or I didn't have a problem with them. But then you have other people basically say, "Well, now that is not good behavior, for you to go on a stream and basically try to shame someone and then, just to make yourself feel better." Um, but yeah, I mean, it's everybody's opinion on whether people who shame someone in their stream or coming into your stream and trying to shame you, and or they're trying to troll you, you know.
Yep. We all been
Um,
there.
oh yeah, and we all have been there. Uh, but there are different. How can I put this? There are different ways at looking at a situation like that, where you will basically say, um, you kind of look at it. I think people kind of look at it in different ways. Um, I think somebody else wants to join. Hold on. All right, Jackal, I sent you the info. But Drake, if you think you're that way, then if they want control, there's the door for them to go back. Exactly, Zeno. Um, but there are different ways of looking at a situation like that, whether they, think that that's good or whether they don't think that's good. I mean, now if somebody basically started shaming someone on a stream, uh, in your mind, Ice, or your opinion rather. And of course, my mother always used to tell me this: opinions are like assholes. Everybody
Hmm.
has them.
They are.
In your opinion, do you think that doing that is actually good behavior or not
Well,
for a person?
that's can be a double sided sword too.
Mm-hmm.
On one hand, it can be good. On the other hand, it can be a terrible thing to do. What I mean by both of those is if you do it for the right reasons, then shaming, calling somebody out. I ain't gonna say shaming, but calling them out
Mm-hmm.
on a subject that can be benefited on. I do consider it good, a
Yeah.
good way of doing it. On the other hand, if you call them out and it's only for like personal gain, not relevant to what the actual um, matter is, then yes, that would be a wrongful way of doing it.
Yeah. Hello, Jackal. How are
Hello,
you?
Jack.
Doing good. How are y'all?
And before
No.
we go any further, I want to elaborate on something on what Zeno said
Mm-hmm.
about control. There are many type of controls, and this can go into behavioral as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are controls like um, a control freak, which is a person that more or less want to dominate over another person, with a person unwillingly be dominated. Most of it has been men doing that, more or less like locking women up and not even letting them go outside or talking to anybody outside of the house. Then there is a type of control where you got a dominant and a submissive. And once you become submissive, you're going to get dominated. You're going to basically give up control to your dominator. And that's the free will deal. And that is a behavioral situation. So, Zeno, you're talking about control there. Like I said, there are several different type of control, and way you talking about it, you know, can be handled several different ways as well.
Now, if I may say something
Yeah, go for
on
it.
that ice about what you're talking about control, about how men, control women, which it is a fact. Yes, they do. But on the other hand, there have been, and I'm not saying that it's just men that do this. There are women out there, and I have actually seen this, where they try to take control of the situation. Like if they're married to a guy, yes, he's not as powerful maybe as the woman. Yes, she's going to take control of him.
Yes, that
Now, having said that, it may not be as common as it is with a man trying to take control of a woman.
yeah,
But it does happen.
yes, it does.
It's not just the men's side. Now I'm
That's
trying
why
to
I said
actually,
most men. Most of the
yeah,
time, it's men.
yeah. And now I'm not trying to basically blame it all on men, because women, yes, they are to blame as well. Their fact, yes, it does go into human behavior. There we go again with the human behavior. Yes, because of the way that people act, like what I
Plus the
said,
way they
act towards one another, or the way they interact towards one another. Um, but
plus
yes,
they were
as
raised that way too.
yes, they were raised that way. Because sometimes, you know, the whether it be a man, whether it be a woman, how they were raised, yes, it will does determine when they grow up how they act towards a person, how they act towards their spouse. But in the long run, can a person, whether it be a man, whether it be a woman, can they change their way, the way that they were raised, the way that they act? Can they change their way, as being, okay, well, I shouldn't be in control of this person. I shouldn't be in control of, you know, such and such. But is there such a thing as a person, you know, who can change? But the thing is, and there's another question to this, do they actually want to change?
I was going to ask you the same question before I even answered that.
I'm a product of that.
Yeah, go
Proof of
ahead.
that.
Go ahead, jump
Yeah.
in here, Jackal, anytime.
I'm a product of proof of that. I'm nothing like what I was raised. Because I was raised being beaten, abused, and I'm complete opposite of that. Like, I'm a very soft-hearted person.
Yep.
And
And
I could have been like a lot of other people that had a bad childhood and abused other people, but I chose not to. I chose
there you
to
go.
be more soft-hearted and a better person.
Well, see, and then that's your choice. But
Mhm.
see, and I think, and and I think that in a way that is a good way. If you choose that, well, this is how I'm going to be. You know, I'm going to be respectful towards people. I am going to be nice towards people. I'm going to be kind towards them. Yes, that is your choice, and that is the way you want to act, and that is the way you want
Mhm.
to more or less have people perceive you. And now, on the other hand, there are people who don't want to do that. Now, how they act, that's how they act. And sometimes I've heard this: "Oh, well, I'm too old to change."
Yep.
You know.
Okay, I'm going to try to answer your two questions. Okay.
Hey, Sassy, how are you? Welcome. Hey, Sammy, how are you?
Your first question was if somebody was raised as a control, I'm going to call them control freaks, which
Yeah.
basically what I classify them as. Can they change? Yes, they can change. They can change for the opposite way of what they was brought up as. Like what Jackal said. He said he was brought up in an abusive house and he decided to not go down that route and take the other path.
Yeah.
So the answer to your first question, can a control freak change once they go down that one path? Yes, they can change. Now, for your second question,
Do they want to change?
do they
That
want to change?
that is
That's
that.
the kicker.
Yeah. Well, see, that is the actual question that people should ask themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do I want to change? And then of course, if I was like that, and I asked myself that question, do I want to change? Well, yes, I want to change. I want to be a better person. But see, the way that I act towards people, of course, is the way that I was raised. It's like, well, my parents basically said, well, you need to be respectful towards your elders, be nice, be respectful towards and kind towards everyone, and that's what I do. Now, of course, we were getting back what you said, how people can, and there are people out there who have been raised in an abusive household, but they change. Like, for example, like Jackal, what he said, yes, but he changed and he had a choice. He had a choice, but he chose to change and to be a better person. But now my question is, and of course, Jackal, you can answer this, or Ice, you can answer this. Going back to what I asked, do they want to change?
The average.
Now, Jackal, when you decided, okay, I want to be a better person, I want to be a kinder person. Was there anything in your mind when you decided this, like, do I want to change? Do I want to be this way? Do I want to change to be a better person?
Well, I was 16 years old, and my mother had came to the school and told the school that she didn't want me anymore. And I decided right then I would never be like my parents. That was my deciding moment. Was when I was 16. I didn't want to be like my parents and do the things they did.
Well, see, and then that was your choice, and you
Hmm.
made that decision right
Yep.
then and there.
Everybody
Now,
has a choice, is the way I look at it.
yeah,
Yes, they do.
absolutely, everybody has one. But getting back to the question, do they really want to change? Now, some people, yes. Some
Now,
people, no.
I'm going to answer to your question.
Yeah, yeah, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
The people who want to change. A lot of them does. It's all depending on how far down that rabbit hole they actually went. If they basically went to the point of no return, then they don't want to change it. They are too happy in what they're doing. If you starting down the rabbit hole and you seeing that this is not right morally, this is not the right path for me, then yes, you can change. You can turn around, go back up the rabbit hole, and go down the other rabbit hole, and be the type of person you want to be.
Yeah.
But there is basically a point that you get to that you ain't going to change,
No.
no matter for what, and that's a point of no return.
And I do think there are some people that don't see what they're doing as wrong. They can't
Sure.
they can't rationalize it as being wrong. They think what they're doing is right because that's what they were raised
Yeah,
to see.
that's what I was getting at. They went down a rabbit hole. So in life, you are faced with many rabbit holes, as you know, many paths. You go down one certain path, you see it as, oh, this is the right path. This is the only path I ever known. It must be the right path. Till you get to the point that you are no longer in control of your destination. That's what I'm getting at, is the point of no return. So yes, there are areas in your life that you're going to see that things that you do seem to be the most logical reasoning of it, without any question.
That's deep. Oh man, that's deep.
Well, we are in the deep subject too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we are talking about human behavior. But, there are many ways, and there are many, I'm sure there are many meanings. There's not just one, but there are many meanings of human behavior. Um, and of course, I'm not Freud, so, I'm not going to try to diagnose anybody tonight.
No.
And of course, if anybody doesn't know who Freud is, he was a psychiatrist, who basically helped people with mental health and, themselves. But yeah, I'm not going to diagnose anybody. I'm not going to judge anybody for the way that they act, for the way that they, you know, act,
Except
or
for me.
from the way that they act or the way they speak towards everybody. But it's as long for me, and this is the way that I feel. A lot of people think, well, if they judge, that's the right thing to do. If they judge people, my opinion is that and of course I'm going to quote this, and we're not going to get into no religious discussion, but this is in the Bible, and it says, judge not lest ye be judged.
We're getting ready to say the same now, Rob.
But no, I'm not gonna turn this into a religious discussion. But no, I'm not gonna judge, because why would I judge? And I know a lot of people would probably say, well, you can judge somebody because it's the right thing to do. I actually went, and of course, I'm not gonna, I'm not really gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna have a religious discussion. I'm just gonna basically tell a story about what happened to me. And I actually had gone to a church, and I had thought about joining, and I basically walked up to the preacher at the end of the service and asked him a question. Um, you know, do you think it's right to judge? His response to that was, yes, I think it is right to judge. Now, being a preacher, you would think that they would say, oh, no, you shouldn't judge because of what is in the Bible. But he had a totally different perspective on it. He thought, oh, yes, you should judge people. In the back of my mind, I was saying, well, it says in the Bible, judge not lest ye be judged. But I didn't tell him that. And instead I said, well, what about judge not lest ye be judged? And he was like, well, that's exactly what it means. You're supposed to judge people.
Oh.
I didn't really say anything, and I kind of walked off, and I'm like, no. No, I'm not joining this place
Whoever
because
that pastor is don't know what the frig he was talking about first thing.
no.
The way I
And
take that anyway is if you have the right to judge somebody, then you have the right to be judged back. But
Yes,
yeah,
you don't have a right to judge them because you don't want to be judged.
exactly. That's the main meaning of that parable.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead, Wow.
okay. But yeah, more or less, I didn't really want to join. I mean, I don't mind, joining a church. I don't mind talking about religion. But see, here's the thing about religion and politics. You always, if you start talking about either one of them, what's it going to end up in? An
An
argument.
argument.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's one reason why I don't never talk about religion or politics on my streams, because everybody has their own opinion about them,
Yep.
and everybody is going to end up getting into an argument about it. So, there again, human behavior. Yes, we argue. Yes, we discuss. Yes, we fuss at one another. Yes, we fight. Is this the right human behavior that we're going down? Is it the right path? Like kind of like Ice was saying, you have many paths that you can go down. Is this the right path for them?
Mm.
And on the other side of that you were just calling off wild.
Yeah.
Hang on. Get ready to jerk my headset.
Well, don't do that.
You was calling off some of the bad behaviors.
Yeah.
There are some good behaviors, like getting along with each other, agreeing with certain things that is being spoken about. And hello, Mister. I feel like shit.
Well, that's what you called me.
When did I call you shit?
When do you not?
But like this, we are getting along. We do banter each other. That's all positive and friendly behaviors. Can friendly behavior go too far? Yes, it can. Then become to the point of becoming a bad behavior. Like, for example, I'm gonna use Drake since he won't say I call him shit. We all, meanwhile, pretty much bantered Drake to death. And yes, he does take it. He does dish it back
Mhm.
at times. But, if you don't give a break in between the banterings, then it will get to the point where he going to say, fuck you, and I'm gone. Which we don't want that. So when we do banter him, we do it for a little bit, then we go on to another topic, talk about the stuff, and banter might pick back up a little bit, and we let it calm down and whatnot. And he's okay with that.
Yeah, then we talk about the wreck or. Oh, that's
One
some of
thing
that.
is if you don't pick on somebody, you don't like them.
True. That is very true.
Yeah, that's true.
That's me. If I don't pick on somebody at some point, then I don't like you.
And that's another thing. If you're going to pick on somebody, you better be willing to receive the picking back.
Mm-hmm. Gotta have a thick skin.
Oh yeah.
Which go down to another form of human behavior, if you think about it.
Hmm.
Everything you do, say, will all go back to the basic human behavior. And it got quiet here.
No, I was just typing. Sorry.
Uh,
No, it human behavior, like you said, Ice. If you get along with one another and you pick on each other, you joke around, you laugh. Now, I mean that's good, and that is good to me. That is good human behavior. Um, now there have been human behaviors where yes, we've all people have all gotten along, and then all of a sudden it kind of goes 360, and then everybody's fighting and just like, okay, we're not getting along, and you kind of go your separate ways, and we have been in groups like that.
yes, you
um
have. Hate to say it,
and
but we have.
yes, and you more or less think back, well, why why did we all act that way? There again, it goes back to human behavior.
Yep.
Why do you act the way you act, especially when if are friends with somebody, you laugh with them, you have a good time, you tease them, you joke with them, and then, like I said, all of a sudden 360, like the next day you guys are arguing or whatever.
Happening in real life too.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
They can be your friend one day, and next day they're your worst enemy.
Yep. One day they can be nice, and the next day they can throw you off the edge, or
Flush you down the
Yeah.
toilet.
yeah,
Throw you under the bus.
yeah,
That's family.
flip.
Yes, most of it is family.
Oh yeah.
As
Flip-
far as my
flip
blood
you off
family,
a
I might have
beam or
spoke to
something.
somebody in my blood family once in 6 months. I speak to y'all more than I speak to anybody.
Well, Jack, we are your family here on the internet.
Oh, I know.
What was that, Drake?
Oh, nothing. I was just thinking about how you'd probably shoot me in the head if I showed up at your door.
Nah,
Or the
really, I
leg.
don't own a gun.
Oh, okay.
You might get
Well.
stabbed in the heart with a sword.
Oh, well.
'Cause I do own a couple of them.
I don't know.
Run,
if
it's
that's
Grandpa
any-
Ninja.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I might say I would do something like that to somebody, but unless they really piss me off, I will not use my weapons on them. Well, it would be the first thing I grab to defend myself. Probably would be my cane,
Yeah.
cause I know how to use that as a weapon.
I have a bass guitar beside of me. That would hurt.
I
Well,
have a walker, so I assume that would hurt if I
Yeah.
threw it at somebody.
Well, see, on my cane it got a crook handle, and if I latch it around your knee gonna come out from underneath you before you even grab that bass guitar there.
Hey,
I don't
Gomer,
know.
how
It's
are
sitting
you?
right here beside
Welcome.
of me. It's pretty handy. Of course,
How
it
are
is
you
heavy.
doing, Gomer?
Yeah, but my cane is a lot lighter than your guitar is.
Yeah, you hit me that 20 times by the time I can get you once.
But that's basically human behavior right there. Would we harm another person in that way? Only in self-defense.
I think most people are like that. If If you got
Or
foot-
when we put them in a headlock and drag them around, you know.
Hey, Drake, that's a video game, buddy. If I'd done that to you in real life, I wouldn't worry about dragging you. I would lock you that headlock on you and do the bulldog on your ass.
I think
Drop
that's the
your face
majority
first
of
on the
people.
ground.
Though.
That over there.
The majority of people wouldn't hurt somebody else unless they were put in a situation where they had no choice.
Yes,
Right.
that's called self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I also want to bring to the attention of course, another type of human behavior. The word bully comes to mind.
Oh boy, I knew we had to go down that road.
Oh,
Unfortunately, yes, that does happen to people, and yes, there are people out there who act like that. Whether it be, you go to school and somebody acts like that, whether you are an adult, you're at a job and somebody acts like that. Yes, that's another form of human behavior. Especially when you are being either bullied by someone, or perhaps you are the person who is doing the bullying. Now, the question for that is, if you are a bully, or if you know somebody who is a bully or who has been bullied, Now, the people who have been bullied, more or less, yes, I would consider them a victim in a way,
Yes, they
because
are.
they are the ones who are getting abused, whether it be verbally or physically,
Or both.
yes. But the people who are bullies, my question is, going back to that question that you had answered, Ice.
Yes.
The one I answered. Do they
Also
want
the
to
one that,
change?
Drake, I mean, not Drake, but Zeno answered. I mean, asked or mentioned
Yeah.
about the control. Because bully is a form of control.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead.
But, yeah, my question is, do people want to change if they are in fact, if they are in fact a bully? Would they want to change to be a better person? Now, it's a yes and a no answer to that. There are a few people out there who may want to change. I'm saying a few, because the majority of the people, no, they don't want to change, because the people who are bullies, pretty much all they care about is themselves. And there, again, another word that I can use, which you told me about, and of course Zeno said it in the chat, about control.
Yep.
Bullies will take control of people. But you see, they try to do that sometimes, because they try to think, oh, well, people are weak, so I'm going to be able to take control of them. I'm going to be able to bully them. Those type of people who basically do that, do they want to change? Quick answer for that, simple answer, no, they don't want to. Because they only can see they only see one way. And that way is to just more or less bully people, no matter what. They think, oh, well, if I change, people aren't going to like me. Well, they don't like you to begin with if you do what you do.
Well, also talking about that point right there that you just mentioned. Some bullies actually is brought into that point, us being the bully.
Yeah.
Not necessarily by choice, but by force. There are some people that become the bully that create the bully itself.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, do they have a choice to change?
Well, I think everybody. I think, and of course, I'm going to give you an answer, Ice, to that
Yeah.
question. Um, and this is an opinion. This is what I believe. I I believe that people do have a choice to change for good, for to be a better person. Um, yes, I do think that they can change. Um, but the thing is, there is a little bit of a you know kind of a yes and no answer to it.
Yes, there is.
Yes, they can change, but no, they can't if they are who if they're bullying people, the person who bullied them, if they're still alive and they are more or less watching them and guiding them and basically kind of saying, well, you need to do this and this and this.
That's called agitators.
Yeah, yeah. And there are many of them in this
Yes.
world. I mean,
And
you could see videos of people like that, or you can see them in real life.
there's a third side to the bullies too, and
Oh, yes.
mostly in younger people. A lot of times there's a lot of abuse at home that people don't know about at school from bullies. Like the bullies are getting bullied at home, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And so they go to school and they pick on somebody that's smaller than them to feel a little bit of have a little bit of control, I guess, because at home they have none.
Mm-hmm.
Because all they know at home is getting beat or whatever, and so they go to school and they take it out on somebody smaller than them, and
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
everybody just thinks they're just a big piece of crap. When if you got down to the gist of it, you would find that they probably really didn't want to be that way. But they didn't really understand another way to be, I guess.
And I want to bring
Just because they wanted
attention.
attention.
Well, I actually want to bring attention to something that someone said in the chat, which was Triple D Honey. It's like someone who gaslights, they have to have control. And that is true. And also, I want to bring something that Gummer says. For most bullies, it's all that they know, which is true. Um, there are people out there who don't really. I'm going to go back to that word, brainwash.
Yep.
And yes, it is a actual word, and it is a fact that people actually do get brainwashed, and people brainwash other people. Yes,
Hmm.
can people be brainwashed into being bullies? Yes, of course they can. Um, reason being is the bully, the person who is basically brainwashing another person into being a bully. Yes, my question is, yes, it can happen, but the person who is doing this, do you think that they had a person previous who actually did it to them, so they do it to someone else? And the answer, quick answer to that is yes,
It's a
they
Yes,
vicious
do.
that's going
cycle.
back
It's
to what I was
it's
saying by
it's
force.
yeah, it's and of course if it happens in families, which yes, I have seen this, where maybe the either a son or a daughter, maybe their father or mother more or less trained them to be like that. Well, the father or mother, yeah, they might have had somebody else, maybe their father or mother did it to them, or their grandparents did it to them, and so on. But yeah, it more or less, if it's in the family like that, yes, you might have a kid who basically, bullies somebody, or a girl who does it, and yeah, their parents might have done it, but then again, could have been somebody else, and not the parents. Could have been a relative, could have been an uncle, could have been an aunt, could have been grandparents, could have been a cousin. Um, So yeah, I mean, and it kind of goes back and back. It's kind of like generation after generation after generation. And then there again with the human behavior, what I was saying, there was a when I was reading the definition, yes, genetic makeup, yes, human behavior, genetics. It comes from genetics, which is in the family, which is in your genes. You know, whether you know it or not. Yeah. Um, But and of course you could agree or you could disagree. But there is one thing that everybody can agree on. We can agree to disagree
Yep.
um, with that. Whether you whether you, like I said, whether it's in the family. And then again, it could not be in the family. It could be, maybe it was a friend of yours who trained you, who brainwashed you into doing it, you know?
Yeah, like you brainwashed me to pick on Drake.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because
Well,
I
I don't know.
knew
I
it.
don't know. I don't know.
I
I don't
knew
know.
it. I knew it.
Well, I don't know.
you have your leaders and you have your followers, and your
Yes, you
followers
do.
usually get brainwashed into
Oh,
doing
yeah.
what they see other people do because they don't know what to do themselves because they've not been taught maybe at home. Maybe their parents maybe not have beat them, but didn't teach them anything
Hmm.
about life, and so they're learning from the people they're around. And sometimes they get around the wrong people, sometimes around the right people.
Take today's society.
Yep.
It's a brainwashing session out there.
Well, I like the comment I seen in chat earlier. I can't remember who said it, but they were a rabbit and they're sticking to it.
That sounds like an OG.
Yeah.
Gee. Well, he has been a rabbit, but he's turning into.
A
I turned him
chihuahua.
into. I turned him into a chihuahua. Is what I turned him into,
Hmm.
because his name is Poji, not OG.
Uh-huh.
Because
Poogie.
I brainwash everyone. How do I brainwash everyone? That's what I want to know.
That hypnotic voice of yours.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
The voice that everybody thinks that well, some people think I'm a guy because they'll come in and say, "Hey, bro."
Do they need a hearing aid?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
No, I mean I've had people come into my stream and basically say, "Hey, bro," and I'm
Well,
like,
hey, bro.
My 5-year-old does that to me, and I'm his daddy, not his bro. Bro, I'm your daddy.
Okay, here's the way
But-
it's gonna be. All females gonna be bro. All males gonna be sis.
Uh-huh. There you
We
go.
all gonna have gender change.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well,
I
anybody
am what I am,
want?
and I am what I will always be.
And you
Well,
are
that's
what you ain't.
That's right.
So, does anybody have any final thoughts on the episode of human behavior?
I'll let everybody else answer before I do.
Well, my final thought about it is that never judge a book by its cover, by what you always see. Try to find out more about a person, because you never know why they're acting the way they're acting. That's kind of my thought on it. I always try to get to know the person a little better to find out the background behind why they act, how they act.
Drake, do you want any final thoughts on it?
No, y'all go ahead.
Oh, my phone.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ice, and then I will do my final thought.
Well, there is an old native proverb which says, never judge a man unless you walk a mile in their moccasins. Which, if you can't take that and translate it yourself, it's basically going back to never judge unless you be judged. Human behavior is a real thing. Everybody has it. A lot of time it can be changed. There are some that can't be changed. But if you can change it and you feel like you need to change your behavior to either be good or bad, that's up to you. And real thought, human behavior is neither good nor bad. It's what you make it. Go ahead.
My final thought on it is for human behavior is, in a way, it's good, and in a way, it's bad. Can people change for the better? Yes. Do they want to change? Probably not. There might be some people out there that do. But as far as human behavior, yes, we're all different. Yes, we're all gonna act differently. Uh, we will all be different no matter what. We will all treat each other differently no matter what. Look at each other differently. Um, you know, and like I had read the definition, yes, it can be in genetics. Yes, it can be your attitude. It can be influence. Stuff like that. Um, do I think that human behavior can improve, can change? Yes, I do. I think that in a way that we can all be a better people. We can all be a better person. Sorry. Um, and I want to go back to what you said, Ice, just a minute ago about the old Native American saying about, walking in moccasin shoes.
Oh, never
Well,
judge somebody unless you walk a mile in their moccasins.
yeah. Well, there is something that a lot of people, especially, I'll go ahead and say white people because yes, would say, well, maybe you should walk in my shoes for a week and see how you like it.
Yep, that's basically
So,
what that old proverb means.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And before you go on, Triple D, yes, human behavior can be genetics. It can be bred into you. Go ahead.
But I mean, that was pretty much my final thoughts on that. But I do want to give a special shout out and thank you to Grandpa Blue Ice Gaming for actually joining, Jackal Gaming for joining, and Drake Sullivan for actually
Yeah,
joining me
buddy.
on this discussion. I do appreciate it. Hopefully, I will be back with another
Y'all
podcast.
don't leave. Ice is going to torture me.
And you're welcome.
And
Welcome.
just like Drake to interrupt a woman. Oh well.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you gonna went daddy now.
Oh no!
did.
Now it's going to be double.
Well, you're gonna be on the rack tonight, my dear. So there you go.
There
Yep,
it
there
is.
it is.
He
But
might be
anyway,
even worse than Rat tonight.
There it is.
But anyway, I want to thank everybody for coming out.
welcome.
Thank you all for everybody in the chat for coming. I really do appreciate it. Thank you all for the likes. If you guys do like these podcasts, please, and you actually see this after the stream and see it as a video, please leave your thoughts and comments down in the description below or in the comment section, please, because I would really like to hear your thoughts and your ideas. And if you guys have any ideas for a podcast, please let me know so I will be able to do it on the next podcast. And anybody, any of you guys, Ice or Drake or Jackal or anybody else who actually joins me, if you guys have any thoughts or for a podcast, please just let me know. Send me a DM or just put it on one of my videos, which is fine. But yeah, if you did like it, please be sure to hit that like button. If you are new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. There is a donation link in the description down below. If you can, 'tis the season for caring and giving. I would greatly appreciate it if you could. Send a little my way or a little someone who needs it this year for Christmas. It would be great. But anyway, yeah. But you guys, as I always say in my streams, at the end of my streams, you guys be safe, be well, be kind to one another, and I will see you all on the next one. See ya.